Hi everybody and welcome to Knack 3D Designs. In today's episode we're going to start on the wiring harness for our Duet control board and our circuit board assembly. So let's get started. Okay, in today's segment we are going to wire up the Duet side of our wiring harness. For that we're going to need a 8-inch long strip of our 34-pin ribbon cable. We will need our 2 pieces of our plug mount. We will need the clamp side of our ribbon cable. We will need the female end of our Molex connector. We will need male pins to go in it. We'll need our bag of Duet connectors. Also need our Duet pins. We will need 2 12-inch long pieces of our 16 gauge wire. We'll need an 8-inch long piece of our 20-inch red and black wire. We will need our special clamp for clamping the ribbon cable connector. We'll also need our clamp for crimping our pin, or our crimping tool for crimping our pins. We will need 2 M3 by 12 millimeter, or I'm sorry, 2 M3 by 16 millimeter bolts, 2 M3 by 18 millimeter bolts, 2 M2 by 12 millimeter bolts, and 2 M2 nuts. And of course we will need our circuit board assembly. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wire up our hot end and our heat bed wiring. So we're going to start off by stripping the ends, at least one end on this, on each of our red wires. And we're going to need 2 pins for these. 1 pin, 2 pins. Now I'm going to go ahead and tin the ends of this wire. Looks like I need to cut about half of what I stripped off. I want to make it to where the rubber is caught in the last part of this and the metal is not getting into where the tabs are, so I still need to cut off this a little bit more. Should look something like this. Set it in the crimp tool. There's one end. And a much better job on my second one there. Just took a little bit. We're going to go ahead and lock those into the bottom 2 pins. We're going to put the locking tab at the top. And when you look down in the plug, you'll see square notches. Those are the top that line up with the grooves in the top of the pins. There's our second one. Now this will mount in our plug mount like so. Cap goes on, and we use the two metric 3x12mm screws to hold it in place. Just going to put one in for now because I just need to mock up to make sure I get the lengths right before I cut the wires. Hold it down like this. Now this will get bolted in place right there like that. We want to run our wiring so it's out of the way. Take it down along the edge. I'm going to say I can cut it right about there. I want this one just a little bit longer, clearly. Get an extra 1/4 inch. Go take this back out for the moment. I'm going to strip the ends of this. Now we need to look in our bag of Duet connectors. And what, there's two big gray ones. They look like that. They should slide right over just fine. Yep. Now we're just going to tin both the ends of these wires. Slide on nice and neat, and I just usually just use the same crimping tool. And that takes care of that. We'll be able to run these around and hook them up into there. Next one we need to do is we need to take our 20 gauge, which is what we're going to run to our hot end. Peel the wire apart a little bit at the end. We're going to strip the two ends of these and tin them. And we need two more of the pins for the Molex. Then insert those into the top one here, into the top two holes. Now we're not going near as far with these. I cut it long just so I had plenty of slack to play with. Go ahead and put the cap back on it to hold it in place. This is going to get mounted flush right there, and then this wire is just going to go right here, so it doesn't need to be long at all. I'll go ahead and cut it probably at about right there. strip both ends and tin them. Fortunately, with the clearance here on my tray, doesn't really leave much room to use these pins, but I'm pretty sure tinning this is going to make it solid enough it's going to be able to clamp onto real good. I have not had any issues with overheating and melting the connector on the board. Go ahead and put the second 16mm metric 3 screw in this piece to hold the Molex in place. There we go. Next thing we need to do is we need to put our connector on our ribbon cable. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to slide the ribbon cable in, clamp it down. Unfortunately, with these little ears we have on here, you can't get the clamp on, so we have to very carefully pop these ears out before we can crimp this on there. There you go. Just bend them backward, apparently, is all you have to do. Now we want to feed the wire through so that the nut locations are on top, and the yellow wire is our first wire. So, connector, nut mounts on top, yellow all the way to the one side like that. Now we need to crimp this together. Yeah, so when you go to crimp it, because of the wings, you need to insert the other connector in there so you can press evenly in the center. Okay, so now we've got that done, we can snap our wings back in. Now we can mount this to our plug mount. And it basically mounts like this. So we'll recess our metric 2 nut in the connector. See, it's notched for the cable to clear nice and neat. We're going to fold that down nice and tight against this. And now we're ready to go ahead and connect our power wires for our hot end and our heat bed, and then we will put the screws in to pull this into place, and then we will start stripping this down and adding connectors onto the end of it. Now you want to make sure you get the 2 heat bed wires run underneath your hot end connector, or your hot end wires. Now we're going to take these 2 metric 3 by 18 millimeters. There are 2 screw holes in the top corner of your front mount. I'm going to run them up through and then thread this and lock this into place. $18mm is about as long as you can fit in there, so it takes a little bit. You might have to thread it in a little bit and then pop it back into place so it'll slide forward like that. Now, this is all secured in place. Now we can run these two wires. Now I usually try to hold on to the connector, try and keep it from twisting so it doesn't rip itself off the circuit board like I've heard some people have issues with. Now obviously if you were going to install the Duet board here, you would want to try and tuck these wires in a little tighter. We don't need to worry about that right now because I have yet to figure out how to do tool changer with this and use the Duet, but the space is there if we need it. So now we need to start pulling off all these as to what they're going to go to and cutting them to length. I got my little cheat sheet here. I'm doing mine. So the yellow and orange are a pair. They will go to our X-axis stop switch. The red and brown are the hot end thermistor. The black and white are the fan for the mosquito hot end. The gray and purple will feed our layer cooling fan. Now the blue, green, yellow, and orange, those four wires will go to our extruder stepper motor. The red, brown, black, and white will go to our X-axis stepper. The gray, purple, blue, and green go to our Z stepper. The yellow and orange go to our cooling fan for the board. The red and brown are the thermistor for our heated bed. The black, white, gray, and purple will feed our panel do display. The blue, green, yellow, and orange are the stepper motor for our Y-axis. Whoops, I did that wrong. The blue and green are our Y-axis stepper, or Y-axis stop switch, and the yellow, orange, red, and brown are our Y stepper. Now we're going to start with our stop switch for our Y-axis, or our X-axis, and our X-axis stop switches, or our plugs for them I should say, are these right here. You got E0 and E1, and you got X, Y, and Z. This is our X, so it's going to go to the third one right here. And it's going to come to right here. So we'll go ahead and cut that one. Alright, and now our red and brown is our hot end thermistor. E1, E0, so it's this one right here. Red and brown is going to come out and go straight down to there, so it doesn't need to be long at all. Now our black and white goes to our mosquito fan. We want that on all the time. These two connections right here are all the time on. We're going to go ahead and bring this out and say it needs to go right down to this end one. Put that there. Next two wires are purple and gray. There's our layer cooling fan, which we want controlled. The next three are our controlled ones. We're going to run it to this one right here. Now our blue, green, and yellow are going to go to our extruder stepper. So we have Z, Y, X, E0 is going to go right there. Now our red, brown, black, and white, Z, Y, X, it goes to that one right there. The gray, purple, blue, and green goes to our Z. The yellow and orange is going for a cooling fan, which we want again on all the time, so it's going to go to this second all-time on fan connector. Then we have our red and brown, which is going to our bed thermistor, which goes right here. Our black, white, gray, and purple go to our panel do, which is the plug right down here in the corner. Our blue and green goes to our Y-axis stop switch. And these last four that I accidentally pulled apart go to our Y-axis stepper. Like so. Now we've got them all cut the length. I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this again. I mocked it up so you can see how the wires went. I'm going to go ahead and strip and tin all these wires. And I'm going to crimp the ends on, and then I will come back and we will pin them under the connectors and put them in the correct spots. Alright, so next step we need to do is we need to go ahead and put all of our connector ends onto our wiring here. So our yellow and orange is our stop switch for our X-axis. Now, stop switch is a 3-pin connector, and if you read through the instructions for the Duet, it says that if you are not running a powered stop switch, and we are not, we're running just a standard 2-wire normally closed stop switch, that you want to use the 2 outer pins. So we've got these little tabs on the back. You want to make sure they go where those little notches are. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide this in. And clarity really doesn't matter for stop switch. That takes care of that one. The red and brown is our hot end thermistor. Again, polarity does not matter. It is a 2-wire connector. Next one is the black and white, which is our mosquito fan. For the fan for the mosquito hot end. That one, the polarity will matter. Bring out the board for just a second here. Now, according to the schematic, the pins on the left are the negative, the pins on the right are the positive. So we're going to look at our connector here. Tabs like this, it slides on. So we need to make sure that holding the connector like so, the one on the left is the ground, the one on the right is the power. So that will plug like that. Yep, okay, that's good. The gray and the purple is our layer cooling fan, same thing. The gray is going to be our negative, the purple is going to be our positive. We take our connector, it's going to plug like this, so gray is negative, purple is positive. The next wires are for our extruder. Plugs go like this. I know the last one I wired, I started with the blue to the left and finished with the orange. We'll turn all these, unfortunately. Blue, green, yellow, and orange. And then our red, brown, black, and white is our X stepper. And I did the same thing with that one. I went red, brown, black, and white in that order. Put the plug like this. Next one is our gray, purple, blue, and green, which is our Z stepper. Again, from left to right, I went gray, purple, blue, green. Next wires are yellow and orange. Yellow and orange is our CPU fan. Yellow is our negative. Orange is our positive. It'll go like this. Yellow's negative. Orange is positive. Next two wires are our red and brown, which is our bed thermistor, which won't have a polarity. Next one is for our panel do. Just looking at my picture, I had it to where black was on the left, purple was on the right. Now we have our blue and green, which is our Y-axis stop switch. Again, we're going to use the two outer pins. And our last four wires are our Y stepper, which went yellow, then orange, then red, and then brown. Now we can go ahead and mount this back in our plug mount, put it back on the assembly here, and go ahead and hook up all of our connections again, and we will be done wiring up our panel Duet. Now we just need to make all of our connections. And there you have it. We are wired and ready to go. Now we just need to wire the chassis. Alright, so that wraps up today's episode. Now remember, if you like what I'm doing here, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for updates. If you'd like to help support the channel, there is the Printed Solid affiliate link, an Amazon wish list, and a PayPal me link all in the description below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.